In 1971, a team of Soviet geologists drilled into the ground in the middle of the Karakum Desert. The ground collapsed beneath them. To stop poisonous gas from spreading into nearby villages, they made a decision that seemed harmless at the time. They lit it on fire. They thought it would burn out in a few weeks. That was 54 years ago. It is still burning right now as you watch this. Scientists call it the door to hell, and it's not even the scariest place on this list.
We're not talking about haunted houses. We're not talking about ghost stories your uncle tells at Thanksgiving. We're talking about real coordinates, real locations that real research teams have to prepare for, sometimes for months before they even set foot there. Places where the danger isn't a legend. It's chemistry, it's physics, it's biology working exactly the way it's supposed to. And that's what makes it terrifying. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly where these places are, why scientists study them anyway, and which one, the very last one, has a fatality rate that makes every other place on this list look like a theme park. Stick around, because number 3 involves a lake that turns living things to stone.
Let's start in East Africa, at a lake so alkaline it can burn human skin on contact. Lake Natron sits in the Great Rift Valley, fed by volcanic springs loaded with sodium carbonate. The water reaches a pH close to 10.5, nearly as caustic as ammonia. Here's the part that made this lake famous. Photographer Nick Brandt found the calcified bodies of birds and bats along the shoreline perfectly preserved, wings still spread, as if they had simply turned to stone mid-flight. Scientists later explained it. The high mineral content acts almost like a natural mummification process. Animals that die in or near the water become coated in calcium carbonate, and over time, they calcify. But here's the twist researchers still study today. Despite the deadly chemistry, over 2 million lesser flamingos breed on this lake every single year. It's one of the only places on Earth they can nest safely, because the same conditions that kill most animals also keep predators away. Beauty and death sharing the same coordinates. And that's just lake number 1.
Next, we go to the Caribbean, but forget the beaches. Deep in Morne-Trois-Pitons National Park is a lake that scientists have only fully measured a handful of times in recorded history, because getting close enough is genuinely dangerous. The boiling lake sits directly above a fumarole, a crack in the Earth's crust venting volcanic gas. The water temperature along the edges regularly hits 180 to 197 degrees Fahrenheit. Near the center, it's been recorded literally boiling. In 1880, when scientists first tried to measure its depth, they couldn't. The heat and gas made it too dangerous to get an accurate reading. It took until the 21st century for researchers with modern protective gear to finally map the lake floor. Local guides will tell you something else. Sometimes, without warning, the lake drains almost completely, then refills days later. Geologists believe it's linked to
Now back to where we started, because there's more to this story. That fire in the Karakum Desert, it's still burning after 5 decades, and for most of that time, nobody actually knew how deep the crater was or how much gas was really down there. In 2013, explorer George Kourounis became the first person in recorded history to descend into the crater itself, wearing a heat-resistant suit, to collect soil samples from the edge of the flames. What he found surprised everyone. Despite temperatures scientists estimate can reach over 1,832 degrees Fahrenheit at the surface, his team discovered bacteria living in the soil at the crater's rim, organisms that seem to be thriving in conditions that should be sterile. In 2022, the president of Turkmenistan actually ordered scientists to find a way to extinguish it, both to stop the environmental damage and to reduce the methane being burned off. As of now, it's still going. 54 years of continuous fire, and it started as an accident scientists thought would fix itself in weeks.
This next one doesn't look dangerous. That's what makes it terrifying. 800 feet below the Naica mountain in Chihuahua, Mexico, sits a cave lined with the largest natural crystals ever found on Earth, some over 35 feet long, formed over roughly 500,000 years in mineral-rich water. It looks like something out of a fantasy film, but the cave sits directly above a magma chamber, which keeps the temperature at a brutal 113 to 136 degrees Fahrenheit, with humidity close to 100%. At that combination, the human body can't cool itself. Without specialized refrigerated suits and air-fed helmets, scientists studying the cave can survive inside for barely 10 minutes before risking fatal heat stroke. Even with protective gear, researchers are limited to short, carefully timed visits. In 2015, the mining company that owned the site shut off the pumps that kept the cave from flooding. Within a few years, groundwater fully reclaimed the chamber. Today, the giant crystals sit underwater again, in the dark, exactly as they were before anyone ever found them.
This next site isn't dangerous because of heat or chemistry. It's dangerous because of what you can't see. After the 1986 Chernobyl disaster, a pine forest near the reactor absorbed such high levels of radiation that the trees turned a reddish-brown color and died almost instantly. It's now known as the Red Forest, one of the most radioactively contaminated forests on the planet. Nearly 40 years later, scientists still monitor it using robotic sensors and remote drones, because human exposure time in certain zones has to be measured in minutes, not hours. But here's what genuinely unsettles researchers. Wildlife populations, wolves, lynx, wild boar, have not just survived in the exclusion zone. Some populations have grown larger than in surrounding areas without radiation, simply because humans are gone. Scientists are still trying to understand the long-term genetic effects on animals that have now lived there for multiple generations. It's a place where
And now, the one that beats every location on this list. Not because of heat or radiation or acid, because of pressure. Challenger Deep, in the Mariana Trench, sits nearly 36,000 feet below the ocean's surface, deeper than Mount Everest is tall. At that depth, the pressure is over 1,000 times what we feel at sea level. That's the equivalent of 50 jumbo jets stacked on top of a single human body. Only a handful of people in history have ever made the descent. James Cameron did it alone in 2012, in a submersible custom built to withstand that pressure. He described the ocean floor as, in his words, otherworldly, barren, silent, and completely alien to anything on the surface. In 2023, oceanographers using deep-sea landers finally confirmed something researchers had suspected for years. Microbial life and even small marine creatures exist at the very bottom of the trench, in complete darkness, under pressure that would instantly crush a submarine hull if it failed for even a second. We have better maps of the surface of Mars than we do of most of our own ocean floor. Challenger Deep isn't scary because of what scientists have found there. It's scary because of how much—
6 places. 6 reasons scientists still study the most dangerous corners of this planet, even when the risk is real. Because that's what actual science looks like. Not always safe, not always comfortable, but always chasing the answer anyway. So here's my question for you. If you had a research budget and one protective suit, which one of these 6 would you actually walk into? Drop your answer below. I read every single one. And if this kept you watching till the end, you already know what to do. Subscribe, because next week, we're going somewhere even scientists are still afraid to name publicly.